So we are actually deploying a scalable application, which is programmed or like code by programming language called Python, and it's a library of Python called Flask. So it's a Flask-based application. Okay, so we will going to deploy it in a EC2 instance, but not directly in the instance. We will deploy it in a container. Okay, so you can see how we can deploy a web application, a Flask-based application in a Docker container. And this application also has a database. So we will create a database into RDS, which is a very famous service of AWS for database managements and creations. Okay, so we will create an instance. We will create the database of RDS, and we will set up this all Docker container, guys. So first thing, what we will do, we will create a database here. Sorry, the instance. Within the instance, we will proceed to install the Docker. I will give a simple name here. So if you guys are new for the AWS, so this is the console of AWS where you can create the resources. Okay. So here, what is the EC2? EC2 is the instance. This is a service for creating virtual machines. Okay. So the servers, if you have heard, so servers you can create with the AWS EC2 service. So I'm creating a server here. I'm giving a name web app. Okay. One instance I am launching here. Okay. So we will select Ubuntu operating system. You can select anyone, but I will prefer to launch the instance with Ubuntu operating system. Okay. Then here the instance type. So I'm keeping it as it is in a free tier account. Okay. Then we have to create a key. So what is the use of this key? So this is a SSH key, which is useful to connect your instance from your local machine through SSH. Let me show you how you can like create a key. SSH key, just a name you have to give, SSH key. So what it will do, it will download a key in your laptop. Okay, so the key will be get downloaded in my laptop. Okay, so I can use that key to connect my instance. Now here you can see you can give the networking. So I'm creating my instance in the default VPC, or in the networking I want the SSH access because I want to connect it, and I also want HTTP access. Okay, because our application will be open from the HTTP. Okay, like from the AT port. So I also want HTTP to be allowed. Okay, now here you can give how much volume you want. So I'm giving 20 GB volume I want in my instance. Okay, now I will launch this instance. Successfully our instances get launched. Now either you can connect it with the IP and connect it from the you can say SSH client like Terminus, Mobile Extreme, Putty, or from your local CMD. Okay, you have to mention that key which is got downloaded. Okay, so we have launched the instance. Now we also need one more thing, which I shown you in the PPT. There is something called RDS, right? So database we need for our Flask application. We create database directly here. Okay, so I'm clicking here. To store the data, you need a database, right? So please hold on, guys, if you have any query. Okay, we have the Q&A at the last, so we will definitely answer your queries. Okay, so here I will select the PostgreSQL because our application will compatible with PostgreSQL database. Okay, so I'm selecting the PostgreSQL database. So the data will be get stored in this RDS. Okay, now version we need, you can say as default. I'm selecting the free tier. Okay, so you also have to select the free tier to prevent from any charges. Okay, single AZ I want. So we will not go with deeper into the RDS. Just we want a database. So here I will give a name. So app DB. So my applications database, just a name for my identification. Okay. Now this is a username. Okay. So this is a username of my database to log in. Now I have to give a password. Okay. So here you have to give the password also. So I will set here the password. Just a minute. Okay, so I will give here password and confirm password twice I have to give. Now, here also I'm keeping it as it is as a small, you can say instance. So it is also like get installed in the instance, but you don't have to worry about that. AWS will manage all the things. AWS will launch this instance. It will install the PostgreSQL database. It will do all the configurations. Okay, you just have to select which type of instance you want, what type of RAM you want to give, how much you can say storage you want to give. Then here you can connect it with your EC2 instance, guys. Okay, so I'm connecting my database from the EC2 instance which we have launched, if you remember, web app. So now this database will only and only connect from this EC2 instance. No one can connect my database from outside world. It will only and only connect through my EC2 instance. So this is a configuration for a DevSecOps engineer. Okay, so you are making secure connections and secure architectures. Okay, so here I have given my instance. Now we will keep the things as it is. Okay, the remaining part, and we will create a database. So it's just a message because of some, like, it's a IAM user. So some service I can't use. That's why it's giving me a access line option. So you will not get this option because you will use the root account. So don't worry about that. So it takes some time to create. As I told you, database is also installed in the instance, right? So it will first launch an instance, then install all the packages for PostgreSQL database, set up it with my username which I have given and the password, and it will get ready or available. So it will take some time, guys. So while it is getting created, what we will do, we will go to our EC2 instance and we will start to configure our web app, right? So I would like to invite my colleague, so he will do the remaining part. Okay, so Tushar, over to you.
Thanks, Sayed. Can you please add my public key?
Yes, I
I'll
can
just
add.
share. Mhm.
Okay, so you can send me on WhatsApp, so I will add it.
Okay.
And also tell to the attendees like why we are adding it, what's the benefit of it, and okay,
Yeah, let me share my screen. I can share.
yeah, you can continue.
Guys, I hope this screen is visible to you. Okay, so this is basically
Yes, it is
the
visible.
Terminus application. Okay, the font size is okay. Okay. Okay, so I am giving you public key. Okay, basically, we have to make the SSH connection. Okay, I have to connect to the EC2 instance that he created. So now I need any type of authentication there. So currently, he enabled the SSH means 22 port in the firewall. Okay, is in the security group. Now I will provide him a key. Okay, which is the public key. Okay, so I am now logging as a root user, and I will share my public key. Okay, so this is my public key. Okay, which is in the home directory and .ssh folder. So I'm just sharing this. Okay, I'm just sharing it in the chat so that you can pick up from here. Okay.
Okay,
Okay, you can add in the server. Okay, we will wait for some time and just share me the IP for that server.
yeah, I shared you on WhatsApp.
Okay. Which is the server? Is it Ubuntu or Red Hat?
Ubuntu. Okay, so you can proceed.
Okay. Okay. Now the key is added. Okay, public key is added into the instance. I'm just trying to SSH now.
Also give like a small demonstration like where I added.
So basically what happens, whenever someone want to connect to the instance, at that time, he should have the access, okay, to the server. Now, I provided the key, okay, public key. Now the public key stored into the dot cat build slash dot ssh and authorized keys. Okay, so you can see that whatever key I share, okay, that is added here. Okay, so now I am the person who is authorized to access this server. You can verify. See, at the last, it is having a root at the rate node 1. So now you can see here, root at the rate node 1 means the exactly the same key I provided is added into the server because he has access to the that particular server, okay, or AWS console. So the similar key you can see I provided, he added it into the this authorized keys file. Okay, that's why when I do the SSH, okay, I do using the Ubuntu. Okay, so now you can see here in the previous command Ubuntu at the rate and this IP. Okay, he provided me the public IP of the server. Okay, so now it is reachable from my personal laptop. Now once I do the SSH, okay, I land into the this particular server. Okay, this is the name of the server. Okay, and this is the Ubuntu user. So with the Ubuntu user, we are now logged in and we verified. We verified that in this particular file, there is a key which is added. Okay, you can see this is the public key. That's why I able to log in into the server. Okay, now I'm just taking the sudo privilege. Okay, now I am installing some packages which is required for the further process. So let me first update the server. Okay, apt update, apt install git docker.io docker dash compose. Okay, so with this command, the all repo will get updated and the packages will get updated, and after that we are installing the 3 packages. Okay, which is first is a git, second is the docker, and third is the docker compose. Okay, -y for do not ask for the installation, so it will directly install. You can see the installation is ongoing. So now the installation is completed. So let me check for the service availability. Systemctl status docker. Okay, so now it is can see here the service active and running, and it is enabled. So let me clone the repo. Okay, so we have one repo where we have our project. Okay, let me just open up that.
So basically, guys, whatever code we have for running our Flask application, so the code we have pulled or we have keep the code on GitHub. So this is a good practice for going with GitHub. Okay, so we are cloning from the GitHub our repository.
So let me share the screen. Okay, I hope the GitHub page is visible. Okay, sorry. Now this is the account. Here we have our Git repo. So this is the application that we have onto the repo. Okay. So now here, if you want to clone, okay, just go inside the repo. As this is the public repo, simply you can click on this code section, and here the HTTPS URL. Copy this URL. Okay, and simply you have to use the command. Okay, on the terminal. Okay, this is the here you have to simply run this git clone and this repo path. Okay, entire repo path. So it is cloned now. Now I'm just going inside this particular repo. Okay, so let me clear. Yes. So now we have one simple application here. Now I will explain you the things one by one. Here you can see we have one app.py file. Okay, this is the Python application. Okay, and after that, this Python application is rendering some templates. Okay, some files from this template section. where we have index.html file, okay, and some data.html, and the requirements.txt. So which are the packages requirement that we require, okay, for the Flask application. So we will install that also. Now for that, let's see. First of all, there is a one more file which is Docker file. Okay, so you can see the file. In this Docker file, there are some instructions provided. Okay, so each and every instruction is having its own use and meanings. Okay, so now the first thing is from. Okay, so what is this from? Basically, I am using Alma Linux as the base image. Okay, Alma Linux 9. So this is the base image that I am utilizing. Now, what happens when I put from an Alma Linux here? It will first of all use this image. Okay, means when we try to build the image, okay, new image from the some base image. So this is the base image. So this image will get also downloaded into my local or here onto the server. Okay, in this case, we are onto the server. So it will get downloaded as well, and after that, it will install all these things. Okay, means it will create the another layer for each and every instruction. It will create the one layer. So now after that, we are switching ourselves into the /app. Okay, means assume that the container creation process is ongoing inside this Alma Linux container. We will switch into this /app. After that, here we will install some dependencies. Okay, so for installing the dependencies, we have to use the run instruction. Okay, as this is the Alma Linux machine, it will use the DNF as a package manager. Okay, so DNF install -y, and what are the packages we require for this application is there. So first is a Python 3 pip. Okay, and this is for the PostgreSQL. Okay, now Python 3 devel GCC DNF clean all. Okay, so means first of all we have to install all these dependencies. That is the requirement. So that's why we utilize the instruction run. Okay, now after that we have to install pip as well. Okay, now as all this thing is done, so we have our templates inside the templates folder, so which is the part of our website. Okay, and in this templates we have one more thing. Okay, as we discussed, we want some dependencies that is required for the application. Okay, so that is packed into this requirement.txt file. Okay, so first of all, let's see what are those things. So for that, I am just exiting from this Docker file and cat templates and requirement.txt. You can see here, this is the installation required. Okay, phmysql and Flask. Okay, these two things are needed. So if you want to install this, so first of all, just transfer this from your local. Okay, this is the local part. Means local means as if I am onto the server. So from the server, I want to transfer this inside this particular container. Okay, now once this file is transferred into this container, so as we are in a /app, so this file is also we have in /app now. This we are transferring one by one all the things into the container. Now after that, why we transfer this? Because at this point of time, p3 install -r, and we are coding this file. So whatever the requirements are there, which will get installed. Okay, this is the purpose of transferring this file into this container. Okay, which this one. Now, apart from that, we are installing this. Okay, AWS PSY-COPG2. Okay, this is for the connection to the database. Okay, RDS database. Now, after that, we will install Flask and this, and pip install, force install these libraries. So all this package installation is also required. So we're done with this. After that, now the thing is we have to transfer our code as well. Okay, so to transfer the code, first of all, we just transfer this file. Okay, now we are transferring the actual application. So application includes this app.py and all the things inside the templates. Okay, so first of all, we will transfer app.py into the /app. This is the path inside the container, and app.py means the same file name will be there as well, and transferring this folder as it is into the same path. So we now have app.py, templates, this requirement file, all these things to the /app path. Okay, so now we excluded some things. Okay, which is the Docker file we have onto the local. If the code is only there, so we may use the dot as, okay. Dot means whatever there is into my current directory, I have to transfer it into the slash app. Okay. But as of now, we have to just transfer the code. Okay, that's why app.py and templates is the part of our code. We transfer it into the container. After that, we are providing the information that this application is exposing port number 5000. Okay. Now CMD is the instruction. What it will do, it will run this app. These two commands. Okay. Simply, if we want to run the application, Python application, we have to run Python 3 space app.py. Yes, the similar thing we can achieve inside the container using this. It means when creating this particular Docker file, we have to use this Python 3 and this application. So it will start the application. Okay. So in this way, we can use the Docker file to pack the entire application along with its dependency. Okay. So once this is complete, so now everything is clear to you as of now. So we have to build the image. Okay. So we will build the image. This Docker file will create the image. So now for that we have to use Docker image build -t. Let me check for the name. Otherwise we have to. Okay, here is the Docker compose file. Okay, where we will utilize the image. So here Flask Postgres -app. This is the image name. Okay, we can simply put the Flask app name as well. Okay, but as of now the image name is there. I am just copying it. Okay, and pasting it and putting the dot means I have my Docker file in my current directory, and from which create the image. Okay, with this name. Okay, so I will first of all show you. If I jump to the start, okay, if I see Docker images, you will see no images are there. Okay, so now we will see or do the observation what will happen after running this command. Okay, it will create one image which is Flask-postgres-app1. Let's run this. Okay, so you can see here it is pulling the Alma Linux name. Okay, as you provided this instruction, it is pulling. Okay, this image is getting pulled. Now it is showing pull complete. In the similar way, it is installing the dependencies, switching to the particular /app directory. Okay, these are the warnings. Now this image is created and it is tagged with the latest tag. Okay, we did not provide any tag. That's why by default it taken a latest tag. Now we will re-verify the images present. You can see previously we did not have any images here onto the server. Now we can see here the Alma Linux, okay, which is the base image we used, that is there. Okay, and on the top of that you can see the size as well. The base image Alma Linux and tag 9 that we utilize is having size of 190 MB. But when we done the installation of this particular dependencies, okay, and we transfer the code, so size become a 553 MB. Okay, so this also shows us there are some layers which get added. Okay, you can see here also you can see we added the instruction expose 5000. So it is the step which get added. Okay, here you can see step 10 means this is run. Okay, you can see for each and every step whatever the instruction we provided, it will create the one step for that. Okay, so now with the all these steps we run the 10 steps. So 9 step includes increases this size. Okay, now we have our image which is ready. Okay, so after that we have to run the application. Okay, so now here is one file Docker compose. Okay, we are utilizing the Docker compose. So let me explain these things. Okay, so this is the version of Docker compose. The second thing is services. Okay, so in these services you can mention multiple applications that you have. Okay, currently we have only one application. Okay, That's why I am giving just one name. Okay, here one name is there. Now after that we have to provide the image, means which image I have to use to run the container. Okay, if you talk about the container, it is the running instance, okay, from the image. Okay, so now this image, that is the same we copied. That's why we do not need to change this. Now Flask Postgres app is the image name. Container name you can give anything. Okay, I provided the Flask dash Postgres. Now after that, this section tells us that internally this particular application is exposed onto the bridge network. Okay, and this will expose its port 5000 onto the bridge network. But we want to access this application from the our instance, okay, or from the instance IP. So for that we need a mapping. Okay, means this will behave like when any request which will come onto my instance IP and port number 80, which will get transferred onto the 5000 port of the container. Okay, means received request onto this port of my server, and it will get transferred onto the 5000 port. Okay, this is how it will work. Okay, this is the meaning of this port section. After that, we packed our application. Okay, and in this application, we provided all the data input for our application in the form of variable. Means what happens generally, we require to change this credential. Suppose this is the RDS database we recently created. Okay, so this endpoint may be different. Okay, now I have to change the endpoint. I may have to change the port, a particular port. Now the user and all these things may need to change. That's why we are pulling out these things as a variable. Okay, and this is the policy restart. When this container will restart. Okay, unless this container will not stop, this container will not restart. Okay, this is the policy set. Okay, so let me show you one more thing. I am telling that DB host, DB port, DB user. Okay, these are the variables we are passing. Okay, by creating this container. So where this is actually we have. So as we see via app.py, here you can see. Okay, previously this was hard coded directly. Okay, but we have to run the container with different like a database endpoint, okay, password. Okay, that will get changed. That's why you can see here this part is changed. Okay, so now we can pass, if we mention the things like this into the code, we can able to pass this via the environment variable. So I'm just coming out from this app.py and again showing you the Docker compose YAML. Oh, Sayed, let me ask you, 80 port is open from the security group?
Yeah, it is open.
Okay, and can you share me the endpoint?
Okay, so I will directly share my screen, and I want to show.
Yes, you can share the screen. You can add up the things. Okay, let me.
Yeah. Yes. So I will share my screen, and I will show you from the console. So you can see, guys, we are now in the RDS, right? I hope my screen is visible. Okay, so you can see, guys, the status is available right now. Okay, so if I click on this DB name, okay, which we have given a name, so you can see, guys, if you scroll down, you can see this is an endpoint. Okay, so we are creating a new database, right? So where the data has to be safe or has to be stored, so we have to change obviously the database endpoint or a DB host in our server, in our instance, right? So I hope it is clear for you why we are changing the endpoint. Now our data is getting traveled by port 5432. 5432 port, our data is traveling. Okay, so now I will copy this. Okay, I'm copying this and I will come here. Okay, so this is how I put that key, guys. Okay, echo, and I paste the key, double arrow, and I rewrite write into the authorized key so that Tushar has able to connect to the instance. Okay, without giving the key. Now I connected with my console, right? The AWS console. Same instance I connected to the AWS console. Let me switch to the root. Okay, if you do ls, so you can able to see our containerized Flask app. Okay, I will do cd here. So here you can see we have Docker file or compose. So environment variable we have set. So if we change it into the Docker compose, automatically it will be getting changed into our image. Okay. So I will do vi Docker and the name of our compose file. So here I want to change the endpoint, guys. So I will go here and I will cut this previous endpoint. So it was pulled on the GitHub. So maybe previously we have created, and the endpoint was the previous instance endpoint, the previous database endpoint. So it will not work, right? Now port is already there. Postgre, as if you remember, guys, Postgre was the database while we are creating the RDS, right? Password I set the same, so I don't need to change the password. But if you give a password in the database while creating the database, make sure to give same password so that our application can connect to the database. Now, the database name. So what is this username and this password? So this is the password and username of your database to connect to your database. Okay. And in a single, you can say this database, you can say in this database instance, you can create multiple databases. Okay, let's suppose you have a database of users, you have a data of users. Let's suppose you also have, if you are running an e-commerce business, so you have a grocery, fashion, or you can say any other database. You are separating the databases with a different database names. That's we have mentioned here. Okay, now we mentioned database table. Okay, like in which table you want to store your data. So in a single database, you can make multiple tables. Okay, so a table name we have mentioned. So it will create it like Postgres the name and user Postgres user the database it will create. Password same I set on my RDS, and endpoint we have changed, guys. So I will save this. Okay, I just save this. Now what we will do after saving this, okay, so we have saved that. Now we also have created the image. Now with the help of that image, guys, okay, with the help of that image, you can see Docker images. So with the help of our image, we will create or build a container. So we will run it like Docker compose. Okay, Docker compose up -d. Okay, so we will up our container. Okay, done. Now here I'm going into EC2. Okay, I'm going into my EC2 instance, and here I will copy the IP address. Okay, in my EC2, so this is our instance. I will just copy the IP address and open it in the new tab. Okay, enter. See, guys, our application is live and it is opening from the front end. See, this is a UI. This is a simple form. If you submit, the database will be get stored in our RDS database. Okay, so I'm giving my name, my mail ID, and my country. Okay, and I just hit on submit. Data stored successfully. So our data is get stored successfully. If you want to show the data, and if you want to see the data, so I also have created a page for showing you guys the data, get data. So you can see the data. See, Kashyap has tried, and this who is this ha 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 also has tried to fill the form. So let me give this on the chat box, guys, so you can open it from your side and fill up the data, and you can see the data from get data page. Okay, so you can fill here, and now like after filling, give here get data. Okay, if I reload this, so I hope I will get some more data. You guys will do it. See, Manisha has filled the form. Okay, more data I got. Okay, Sanjay, Narendra Modi. Oh, Modi ji also had joined the meet. Just kidding. Okay. So Dinesh Kumar. So guys, you fill the data and it is getting stored in our database. Okay. Okay. So we also have the attendees from the Canada. Welcome to you, Sam. Okay, so guys, this is how you can see you can create a web application with database. Okay, so we connect the database, which is a RDS. So AWS is taking all the responsibility. Just you have to create it, give the endpoint, give the credentials, and everything will work. So you can see the data, it is getting stored in our database, and you can fill up the form from the front end. Okay, so this is a web app which internally will work with 5,000, and externally we have routed, and it is working on 80 port. Okay, so I hope you guys uh, got the point and like get this workshop interesting.